As context for this video, I don't think it's good for the long-term health and vitality of any company to continually have a constant state of growth. Statistically speaking, in an ebb and flow dynamic, you get some of the highest creativity and innovation in depressions and setbacks, etc. And so I think in general, it's healthy to have space for Tesla to go up and down in some areas. For example, if car sales go down, that's going to give time for Elon to focus on battery and maybe make the next innovation in that area for power plants, or to speed up the shingles or develop some other company that's important. And I do think that many of the companies will synergize. So even if something's not good for Tesla in the short term, like the Boring Company, what it can do for electric vehicles down the road is even more important than the time that takes away from Tesla. That being said, I wanted to outline 7 areas where Tesla can create more value for consumers than it's currently doing, and use this as an illustration of the fact that there are well over 100 good ideas that Tesla can do to create value and thus generate sales that generate more revenue than they cost to produce, so that are profitable. And again, I think that the company is growing so fast that it's not like Elon doesn't have some of these ideas or they're not present in the company. It's just how to keep up with the demand. The first thing is, it came up for my wife and I where we spend up to 6 months of the year in Thailand. And it's a great place to go, by the way, if you want to experience an average 300% increase in well-being and lower costs. That's the statistic from the informal interviews that I've taken of multi-countries. They're expatriates from the US, from Germany, from Russia. It doesn't matter the location. The average increase in well-being, 300%. But with being in Thailand 6 months of the year, with not driving that many miles, the main drive to get a Tesla, since I'm a contractor, is the safety feature for my wife, who's absent-minded. And so the idea of having one of the safest cars that's going to correct her before she rams into the car in front, ideal. So that's kind of a driving in, just to support Elon. But the car is sitting around 6 months of the year. We don't have 50,000 in where that would be the cash to prioritize, to buy a car in cash. They do depreciate if you look at, all the half-price Model S's that are just 4 or 5 years old. And so one of the directions that we went was putting it on Nextdoor. Anyone in the neighborhood want to co-own a Tesla Model S. And it's a little bit shaky because the bugs in co-ownership haven't been worked out. There isn't a Tesla contract. There isn't an app that will allow a protocol where the contract spells out how is the car's hours allocated? Is it a first come, first served basis? Is it a, do each people spell it out? Is it, based on urgency? I needed a level 1 urgency, and that always trumps out if you just need to go shopping sometime in the next few days. How would car sharing be negotiated via an app? But moving in the direction of autonomous cars where people don't need to own cars, a step in the right direction that would give Tesla valuable information. And, for example, if we could go in thirds on a used Model S or a new Model 3, that seems proportional for it sitting around 50% to 80% of the time when we're in town, and 6 months of the year when we're out of town. And there there is no kind of low-risk way to mediate such an arrangement where you could put out a thing and there's a video, what it's like to co-own a car. Here's how different payment options can work. Here's how it works on your phone. Here's how to extricate yourself out of the agreement if you've got a particularly troublesome co-owner, where you could actually, in part, partner with Tesla to co-own a car where they'd help to find another partner if it was turning out to be a nightmare or something, or you could have a clearly defined penalty and you pay that up and Tesla will take the car back, or whatever it is. So car sharing contract via app, and this even with spouses could be useful to I'm reserving the car for this and this and this, and it's going to be free. I'll have the car back by this time, or I'll pay a penalty, whatever that penalty is, etc. So this is one person's intelligent attention, a couple of months, and a little tweak in the current Tesla app, and you've got a co-owning feature that, in my case, would make it a no-brainer. Now, secondly, parts-only insurance with no deductible. Now, Tesla's talked about going into the insurance market in general, and great. But, what makes me a little bit uncomfortable in a situation like this are things like hearing that 3 of the $1,000 door handles that have been replaced on this used model. And it's like, wow, $1,000 a door handle. It's going to take a lot of oil-saving changes to, make that up. And since we're not driving it much, the fuel savings are not as high as if we drove it, 10 to 20,000 miles a year as opposed to 1 to 2,000 miles a year. And so parts-only insurance takes that whole uncertainty off. I don't know. This is my first electric car. I don't know what's going to go on here. But I don't want to get a $3,000 bill for, a door handle, or a new console that just went out for some reason. And so I think this is great for Tesla either as a side service, where it's a pooling, where basically it's a nonprofit thing, where basically the goal is to give everyone a chance to pay, let's say $50 a month. And you never have to pay for a Tesla improvement again. And you could have 2 versions: the upgrade, where if they send out a new computer or whatever, it'll upgrade your car, or just the, you ding your car, a door handle stops working, and rather than a $1,000 bill, it's just $50 a month. And it's aimed to break even. It's not aimed to make money. Now, it's fine if it makes 7% a year and something like that. But my point is, it's a car sales tool. Because whenever you deal with the unknown, brain psychology defaults to the negative. And what I mean by that is, in order to survive, if you're looking at a room and there's 100 people and there's one person who's a threat, the one person who is a threat gets blown out of proportion. 99 people who are not a threat get ignored. Whenever you are dealing with an unknown situation, and as every single person going from combustion engine to electric is dealing with an unknown. Everyone buying a first Tesla is dealing with an unknown. Everyone dealing with autopilot. There are so many unknowns. And what the brain does is it says, this is new, this is new, this is new, this is new, what could go wrong? And everything that could go wrong, $1,000 door handles, suddenly it seems huge. It may be that only happens 1 in 1,000 times, that one person has to replace all 3,000 door. But what if that was me? And so it goes out of proportion. And what I've learned in contracting, like for example, if you want to fix up a home and sell it, what you want to do is you want to take every problem that people lack the skill and imagination to solve easily, and you want to fix it in advance. Because they're going to look at that and say, oh my gosh, we'd never be able to fix that, or that must cost $100,000 to sort out that difficult slope there. Now, if you can fix that difficult slope for $10,000 in a unique and creative way, but the average person thinks it'll, it's like, oh, that's a real, and so the house price is, it's discounted. you're going to get a 9 times return by doing that fix, a $90,000 profit on that $10,000 solving the problem. In other words, there's all these unknowns. And probably to break even or make 7% a year, et cetera, not a profit center. This is a sales center. If you take an expensive car with all kinds of horror stories, because people talk about the horror stories, that's what gets, nobody says, oh my gosh, my door handles worked and I didn't have to replace them. No one's going to make a YouTube video about that, but they might make one if they had to pay $3,000 to, so that's the one that gets seen. So if you have an insurance product that takes all the health and safety kind of issues out of the syringe, it's not a medical insurance. It's nothing like that. It's a very finite thing. Tesla has a database that says, the average driver is going to need to replace this and this and this sometime over the next 10 years. You take that cost, you divide it into 10, then you divide it into 12 months, and you say, okay, the average driver is spending $50 a month for repairs that are not their fault or that, are going to happen. Okay. So you say, okay, that's the pool. So anyone who wants to can join the pool, and they'll pay $50 a month, and anytime they have a repair, it'll come out of the pool. And it's just designed to eliminate the fear of uncertainty and increase sales. But it's also very, you think of creating well-being. The fact that the brain exaggerates risks, this is calming to know that it doesn't matter what happens. $50 a month, we've got that covered. Now, the next thing is crowdfunding options. This is another app feature. So if we go to the app and say, okay, someone's got an idea, and like most of the ideas that Tesla's scrambling, okay, we don't have bandwidth for that. But we in the consumer body have an idea. And everyone else who wants to look at that feature, consumer ideas, can vote on the ideas. Okay, so-and-so in Massachusetts had an idea for this. How many people like the idea? Bing, 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 like. How many people really like it? This is one of the best ideas I've heard. Okay. This is providing instant feedback for Tesla. That is one of the best things that can be done. It costs pennies to add that to the app as a one-time feature. Why isn't it there? 2, this creates loyalty and engagement. The more engaged you are, the more loyal you are. No other car company is asking these things, so you've got an invested interest in buying your ideas. And so it creates sales. Now, having this also provides the possibility for crowdfunding, because, there are tons of things that I could stick $500 or $1,000 towards that I would like to have as a feature or to support as an ideal or whatever it is. Okay, I'll stick $50 on that idea. In other words, the ideas can also be voted on financially, such that if we go down to one of my later ideas of partnering with third parties, that a third-party management company might say, okay, we're going to take, everyone's $50 for this idea is seed capital. And we're going to make the commitment, much like a crowdfunded project does, where they say they're going to produce this watch or they're going to produce it. We will take that and we will deliver something within these specs with this feature. And this is something that Tesla can foster as an offshoot so that it can stay focused on core competencies, but not continually limit its features to what it can handle with this whole focus on, mass production. And so crowdfund Tesla features with user collaboration is a win for everything, because then Tesla can make a call for the top ideas. Does it want to take it in-house? Like right now, one of the big stumbling blocks for me is the roof rack that I want for my Model S wouldn't fit on a Model X. Now, for some bizarre reason, Tesla hasn't gotten around. Well, it's not a bizarre reason. It's perfectly understandable. They are running at lightning speed, producing tons of models, with all the crap being thrown at them in the media and the whole thing. And the largest shorted stock is everyone gangs up to, bang on the new kid. And so, they haven't gotten around to all kinds of things. And one of them is a tow package for the Model S, a dual motor 4-wheel drive car. It can tow almost as much as the Model X in a dual motor format, with the right trailer and stuff. But it doesn't come with that. Now, I talked with the local rep at Tesla and said, what would happen if I stick my own aftermarket tow package? There's one sold. You can buy one for $400, easily install it. They said they would avoid the warranty. And I said, do you mean to say that if I come in here to have one of these $1,000 door handles replaced, you're not going to replace the door handle because you see a tow package? And they said, yeah. Well, first of all, that's crap. That's you might void the drivetrain or the wheel warranty or something intelligent. But that there should be segmentation, particularly when people are trying to make up for Tesla's deficiencies, including a tow package. And it's now been added to Europe, so I'm kind of waiting to see if it'll be added here, because even though the aftermarket tow package costs $399 and Tesla's going to charge $1,200, having it in the warranty installed by Tesla adds safety, adds value. It also adds profit. I mean, if Tesla can't install a hunk of steel profitably that's adding $1,200, I mean, that's a huge profit center. We're looking at around $10 in metal that robots can zip out in a few minutes, and could be added a separate line. Now, this brings in user collaboration. This brings in another area of winning. I think there are a lot of people rooting for it that just feel a bit marginalized by the fact that they're not in a financial situation and are probably never going to be to buy a brand new $40,000 car, and they may not need it, but when they can buy a used Prius for $3 or $4 grand and help a little bit in the environment or something, they're going to go that route. But what about betting? What about being able to bet and know your odds? And again, not a moneymaker, just a bet where per every dollar you invest, you've got a certain percentage. Let's say you've got a 1 in 1,000% chance per every dollar you invest, or 1 in 40,000 chance, for every dollar you invest. And you can bet and play games to win Teslas, not as a moneymaker, just as a way to facilitate sales, because people enjoy gambling and gamble about nothing really, and they have terrible odds. This could be a proportional odds where, one in, if you put in $1,000, 1 in 40 is going to get a free Model 3. And it's helping the company. It's a fun way to gamble that could deliver a nice car. So I think that's worth it. But this idea I like even more. What about teaching people that own a Tesla, like, here's the deal. You're going to put down $5,000 on this car, and then you're going to have a $500 or $600 a month payment. But for every referral that leads to a sale, for every sale in your name, we wipe out the payment for that month. Now, do you think that would galvanize a sales force? Well, they've got the 5,000 or 10,000 invested. They're going to lose that in the car if it goes out. And think of all the college kids who have rich parents or whatever, that they can convince their parents to get a Tesla or whatever, and it'll be help. You mobilize the college group But you also mobilize teachers, people that want to facilitate, because you then, after that initial down payment, you've got free charging at home, so you're kind of no cost there. And you've got warranty for 3 or 4 years, so you've got no cost after that $5,000 payment. So all you have to do in an entire month is sell one car, and your car is free. And you have to do that for what, 40 months? You sell 40 cars, and your car is free. Now, it should be done in a payment, deduction format, or like every car you sell, the math can be worked out so that this is very profitable for Tesla. But it's also a way to help the customer and honor those people who are making the sales. Because it is huge that Tesla does not need to advertise. It is huge. But it's also mission relevant, meaning if this, which I believe this program alone could easily add 10, 15% to Tesla's thing. I mean, I think that would be a fun challenge personally. Now, it's also good for the culture, because let's say that that's a little game that my wife and I want to play to pay for our Tesla, where let's leave some Tesla brochures out. Let's put Tesla on our business website. Let's educate our clients about Tesla. We have lots of clients and stuff. And let's offer people Tesla. Well, what we're doing is we're building community. Jesse and Zach, I have to reverse it to get the syntax right. At Now You Know, they'll give a free ride in a Roadster or something if you buy a Tesla, etc. This is creating community. A whole community of interesting people come together because of that offer. But that offer isn't profitable if they have to spend thousands of dollars each month in editing costs and hosting and this and that, one. Two, they have to fly and drive, a car and pay the electric. It's not profitable unless, with 2 Roadsters, it's profitable. And with, Patreon and stuff, it's profitable. But what about, empowering a whole sales force of younger people and teaching that any college kid, any high school kid can get their Tesla for free in, people are drawn into these sick multi-level dynamics, and I'm not talking about that. This is a solid thing, meaning everyone who buys this is going to benefit. It's the best car around, the safest. So you're selling a ton of stuff, and I think this is incredible. I think that's a sales tool. Meaning, I think there's a whole competitive gene, in America, where I'm going to get my car for free becomes, people go to insane measures. I'll build websites. I'll drive around. I'll drive up and down the high street with ride free in this car, and then take a thing. I'll do this. I'll do that, and it's this flood of creativity that gets unleashed. Because we've already primed our culture around this whole obsession around getting stuff for free. Of course, it's not for free. They may operate this as a full-time job. Retirees, people sitting around watching TV at 75 years old, that's what we told them what the whole life was about. Work at a job you hate, do this, and then you'll get to sit around and watch mediocre TV with nothing to do. They can go out and showcase a top-of-the-line car. I think this is great. So next is a Tesla trailer with 3 configs. And why is this beneficial? Well, first of all, going back to the contractor thing and all that, I use my pickup probably 1,000 miles a month or a year that I need for a bit of lumber, but I've got to to bring stuff to the job when needed. And again, it sits around 6 months of the year, and then 90% of the time, even when I'm still working. Now, the Tesla trailer allows a Model S or a 3, particularly the dual drive. So First of all, if you do the calculations and explain that the dual drive can haul more of a trailer, which it can, than a single drive, then you upsell the car to support more towing capacity. You create a psychological link between the ups, the longer range upscale, etc. And so it sells cars. As soon as you add a trailer, and you understand that a trailer at 1,000 weight, 1,000 pounds of weight, is going to decrease 20% mileage, or it's going to decrease 40. Now you've got to buy the longer range to go a shorter range with a trailer. So it sells the upsell. That's where Tesla makes its most money, is in the upsell. Secondly, by designing the trailer in the right size and configuration, it protects the car. There's a lot of dinky trailers or that can be traffic accidents, or that can be loaded too much, etc. By having Tesla make the trailer, it can actually have an alert in the trailer that says, "Oop, you are over Tesla limit," and you're voiding your warranty. So you're controlling that and providing safety value to the client. One. Number two, you have the opportunity to extend range with a battery in the trailer, whereas you make the connection with the car, you actually add auxiliary batteries from the car or send power to the trailer. Now, there are many uses of the trailer, and I made a whole hour video exploring all the different configurations that could happen. But the choice between buying a pickup, so this is the next thing. Tesla's late on the game with the pickup. Looks like Rivian will probably be there first. You've got pickup. For the few times a year you need a pickup. You've got Model S, or a Model X. I don't want a Model X, pickup, When you can offer a trailer that can be towed by the X, the S, or the 3 in really great configurations, you can even have a single small motor for really steep hills to, allow heavier weights, etc., without stressing the car. Then the car becomes more valuable because of its flexibility. Well, if we need a truck, we'll just buy the Tesla trailer. And it can also be financed as a package. So such that something, if the trailers I'd be interested in building might cost around $7,000. Well, if you're putting 10,000 down plus 7, down, and it adds to the burden, but it also adds to the uncertainty, particularly with Tesla's clarity that it voids warranties currently if you add an aftermarket trailer. So I think that's a terrific thing. And finally, going back to this user collaboration, sponsored collaborations, where any user idea that gets elevated, Tesla can facilitate a certain amount of crowdfunding. Very clear that it's not liable if a company goes bankrupt or anything like that, but that some ideas can be crowdfunded, such as this trailer, and that Tesla will facilitate the communication and the exchange of funds between clients that want to proactively invest in peripherals and things like that to Tesla. One. Two, we'll test the peripherals and give guidance to the peripheral companies for the idea that at the bare minimum, Tesla will say that for us to endorse you as a Tesla-related company, meaning a company with our blessing, we don't have any legal responsibility. We're not talking about that. We're not going to engineer this for you. But it has to meet these specs. If you want to add an aftermarket tow hitch, it should meet these specs. If you want to install an aftermarket tow hitch, the bolts and whatever should be this. And so it will provide specs for that to facilitate trust, which facilitates investment, which facilitates creativity and development, which facilitates choice, which creates value, which sells more cars at no expense. So these are the 7 ideas to rapidly increase value without really any cost or downside to Tesla. Love to hear what you think. Take care.